University of Windsor track program has always been respected. With the arrival of head coach Dennis Fairall 4 years ago, it is now feared. Coach Fairall tells us what shape the team was in when he took over.
Dr. Salter had the program started really well. I think the fact that they had an indoor track really helped after 1981, and he had the program on the upswing as it was when I came in. So I came in a very good time when it was building. However, the team size was relatively small. We only had about 20 people, out of which maybe 15 were making all the practices 3 years ago. And I think maybe one of the things that was lacking was a year-round program, which I've sort of brought in. So a lot of our kids do continue on right through the summer.
Did you set any goals then?
No, my first year I didn't set any goals. I worked very closely with Dr. Salter. He is a very good at track administrator, which in a sport like track and field where you have to put on numerous meets and have a lot of contact with a lot of athletes through recruiting and have a lot of contact with coaches is really important to have good administrative qualities, and he was really good in that area. And also in the long sprints area, he had a really good program built up in the long sprints area, which was his coaching area.
Was success quick in coming?
I think we were a bit lucky the first year, and maybe John Musselman's finding the same thing. As soon as there's a new coach and a different sort of enthusiasm, then it really takes off the first year, and you probably perform over your head. And the first year, I think we performed over our head. We probably ran into a situation where Western was a bit down, and our women finished second to Toronto at the OWIAs. The best finish before that was seventh as a team, and our men finished fourth, and their best finish was sixth as a team. So the first year, I think out of enthusiasm, they performed really, really well.
The Lancer track team recruited heavily this past year. Over 140 letters went out to graduating high school athletes. Of that, a good percentage were landed by Coach Fairall and the university.
We wrote 140 letters to various kids based on the OFSA high school results and SWASA and WASA high school results. We wrote 140 student athletes. Then we directly contacted maybe about 40 of those by phone or traveled to their hometown or whatever, met them at meets, and we were very successful. We have 24 new members on the team that we recruited, and then about 6 more kids that just showed up that we didn't even recruit. So we have 30 new freshmen. We have 82 showed up to our initial meeting, and right now we're carrying 64 athletes.
Cheer, the cross-country team here doing very well. Let's talk about that for a moment.
We really recruited heavily in the middle distance area, trying to develop a cross-country program, because if you do recruit middle distance runners, they're good for you in cross-country, which is a CIU event, and in track. And in track, indoor, there's 4 different events for middle distance runners. There's the 1,000, the 1,500, the 3,000, and the 4x8. So a middle distance runner can take you a long way in scoring a lot of points. So we really worked on developing a middle distance program and recruiting middle distance runners. And as a result, right now, at the first rankings, we were ranked 6th nationally in the CIU in both men and women. And the men, we've fallen to 8th, and in the women, we're off the scale. But we'll be back up there after the OUA, OWIA championships this weekend.
The track team has always been strong. Why is it that the field event team lags so far behind?
I think that most of the top field event kids have selected to go to places like Toronto and York, University of Toronto and York, basically because they have full-time coaches. They're an event center, a CTFA event center, and they have a full-time long jump coach, they have a full-time shot put coach, and a full-time hurdles and sprints coach. A lot of the top recruits in Ontario have selected to go either there or to the U.S. Now what we've done this year is we've brought in 2 new coaches. Elaine Weeks, who is a CIU silver medalist and all-Canadian in the long jump, school record holder. She's going to take over the long jump. And Richie Coughlin, who is a former Ontario high school champ in the triple jump, and one of our top triple jumpers. So now we have coaches that are specifically in those areas. Before, we didn't have a big enough coaching staff to really recruit the athletes. I didn't want to go out and recruit a triple jumper and not have a coach to coach them. So now that we have coaches in those areas, we're going to recruit in those areas, and we have 3 high jumpers in school here this year that are over 2 meters, and last year we didn't have any over 2 meters.
Unfortunately for the women's team, Maxine Walks was lost due to graduation. Looking on the bright side, the men look extremely strong.
Is almost phenomenal if we can keep everybody healthy and fit. Our biggest recruit is, undoubtedly Chris Weinberg, who this past summer finished 3rd at the Canadian Decathlon Championships, the Canadian Olympic Trials, and they were competing against the U.S. Team in that competition, and for him to finish 3rd in that competition as a 19-year-old in an event that takes years to develop just shows tremendous promise. He will probably score for us in 6 events at the OUs. We're really setting a goal of top 2 to 3 at the OUs in the men, and we really feel we can rank top 5, if not top 3 in the CIU rankings because of the strength in the on the track and in the field. We have 3 pole vaulters. We've never had a pole vaulter before in the past 4 years. We have 3 long jumpers. We have 2 triple jumpers. We have 4 shot putters. We have 3 high jumpers. So we're going to we'll field every event this year at the OUs. Every event we'll field the full contingent of 3 athletes.